Let me say something that might just change how you see attraction, power, and yourself forever. Women are not drawn to your words. They're drawn to your presence. This isn't a clever turn of phrase. It is the fundamental, unshakable law of masculine and feminine dynamics. It's not the sentences you meticulously craft or the lines you rehearse in the mirror, but the raw, unfiltered energy you emanate the second you walk into a room. It is that silent command, that grounded calm, that subtle, piercing intensity behind your eyes that communicates a message far more potent than any string of words ever could. This man doesn't need to talk. This man doesn't need to perform. He is. That, brother, is the masculine secret. Real attraction doesn't start with what you say. It starts with who you are long before your mouth even opens. The moment you internalize this truth, you cease being a man who chases validation, and you begin the transformation into a man who pulls reality and women into his orbit. You become a center of gravity. We have been fed a diet of lies, a slow-acting poison that has weakened the masculine spirit. We were told that attraction is a formula of compliments, grand romantic gestures, and witty banter. And while these things can be the seasoning on the meal, they are utterly worthless if the substance of the meal itself, your core presence, is rotten. If your energetic frame is weak, if your presence is scattered and porous like a sponge, if your eyes are pleading for acceptance instead of piercing with purpose, she will feel it. It is a full-body recognition on her part. It doesn't matter what you say next. Her nervous system has already rejected you. Her attraction is not an intellectual decision. It is an instinctual, primal verdict delivered by a part of her brain that existed long before language. Her body, in its ancient wisdom, reacts to something deeper and more honest than charm. It reacts to the undeniable frequency of masculine presence. And that presence, the bedrock of all genuine attraction, doesn't come from words. It is forged in silence, communicated through posture, revealed in the steadiness of your eye contact, and solidified in your stillness. This is your arsenal. This is the hidden language. This is what she feels, hears, and sees before you ever utter a single thing. To grasp this, consider the lion. A lion does not roar endlessly to prove he is the king of the savannah. His power is not a performance, it is a fact of his existence. He is calm, confident, unbothered, moving with a potent economy of energy. He knows his value, and therefore, every other creature around him does too. His energy, his very being, radiates a quiet, unassailable dominance. This is the same energy a woman feels when she comes into contact with a truly grounded man. Her subconscious senses something ancient, something that doesn't need to impress because it is already certain of its own worth. When a woman's nervous system picks up this signal, she reacts without conscious thought. Her heart rate may quicken, her mind may spin, and she starts asking herself, "Who is this man?" This question arises not because of something you said, but precisely because your silence was more profound and communicated more strength than the desperate noise of other men. Let's be brutally, painfully honest. The modern man overtalks. He has been conditioned to fill every empty space with noise because he is terrified of what the silence might reveal about his own inner emptiness. He explains, he justifies, he intellectualizes, he tries to build a bridge to her heart with a scaffolding of words, humor, and feigned kindness. What he is actually doing is compensating for a terrifying lack of internal strength and solidity. He is a hollow drum that makes a lot of noise when struck. Women, who are masters of energetic subtlety, feel this instantly. His frantic effort is like watching a man trying to swim against a powerful current, exhausting himself merely to stay afloat, while the truly grounded man sits calmly on the riverbank, observing the flow. The grounded man isn't performing. He's not seeking. He's being. And that state of being, that calm, centered, unapologetic existence, is the rarest commodity in the modern world. It's for this reason that women chase it. In a world saturated with anxious boys in men's bodies, all screaming for attention and validation, the man who is comfortable in his own silence becomes a magnetic anomaly. This brings us to the most crucial and sobering truth you will ever hear. Masculine presence is earned. It is not a cloak you can put on. You cannot fake it for long, and you cannot copy it from someone else. It must be forged in the fires of your own life. It is the byproduct of pain you have faced, discipline you have cultivated, and a mastery you have achieved over your own emotional landscape. The man who panics when she pulls away, whose stomach churns with anxiety when she doesn't text back, has no presence. The man who feels compelled to over-explain his actions and justify his decisions when she is moody has no presence. These are the actions of a man whose emotional center is located outside of himself, held captive by her approval. But the man who can sit in an uncomfortable silence, hold steady and warm eye contact, and not flinch when she tests him, either consciously or unconsciously, that man has presence. That man turns her on without even trying, because he communicates something far deeper than surface-level interest. He communicates certainty in himself, in his value, and in his path. And that certainty is the stark dividing line between the boy and the man. To truly understand presence, we must dissect its anatomy. It isn't a vague, mystical concept. It is a tangible energy composed of distinct, trainable elements. First is the physical component. This goes far beyond the simplistic advice to stand up straight. It's about the quality of your movement. A man with presence moves with deliberation. His steps are unhurried, his gestures are intentional, and he is never frantic. When he sits, he takes up space comfortably, naturally, not as an aggressive display but as a simple statement of his right to exist. He is physically grounded, feeling the connection of his feet to the earth beneath him, a living embodiment of stability. He doesn't fidget, tap his feet, or exhibit the nervous tics of a man whose mind is anywhere but the present moment. Second is the ocular component. Your eyes are the most potent projectors of your inner state. The man who lacks presence has shifty eyes, constantly scanning for approval or danger. He struggles to hold eye contact, especially with a beautiful woman, because it feels too intense, too revealing. The man with presence, however, wields his gaze with calm mastery. It's not a predatory stare designed to intimidate, but the gaze of a king, observing, seeing, and piercing without threatening. He can hold eye contact during a conversation, conveying that he is fully engaged. More powerfully, he can hold it in complete silence, creating a palpable tension that is magnetic, not menacing. His eyes say, "I see you, and I am not afraid of what you see in me." Third is the vocal component. While presence is forged in silence, it is revealed in speech. A man with presence speaks with a different cadence. His pace is generally slower, more measured. He is comfortable with pauses, using them to give his words weight and to allow his message to land. His vocal tonality tends to have a downward inflection at the end of sentences, which subconsciously communicates certainty and authority, as opposed to the upward, questioning inflection of someone seeking validation. He does not need to speak loudly. His vocal power comes from its calmness and resonance, a tone that vibrates from his chest, not his throat. Finally, and most profoundly, is the energetic component. This is the aura, the summation of all the other parts. It is a direct broadcast of your inner world. If your mind is a chaotic tempest of anxiety, insecurity, and neediness, that is the energy you will radiate, no matter how well you try to mask it. If your inner world is one of purpose, calm, and self-possession, that is the energy that will precede you into every room. It's the difference between a still, deep lake and a shallow, choppy puddle. The former invites contemplation and respect for its hidden depths. The latter is transparent, easily disturbed, and unremarkable. This is the energy that she feels in her bones, the part of you that communicates directly with her primal brain. It is the silent, ongoing broadcast of your sovereignty or your servitude. This is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Understanding this anatomy moves presence from an abstract idea to a series of skills that can be consciously, deliberately cultivated. It is the beginning of the path to not just acting like a grounded man, but becoming one. This is the great paradox that will liberate you. The less you actively try to attract her, the more irresistibly attractive you become. When you are no longer performing for her, your every action becomes more authentic and, therefore, more potent. Your words gain immense power precisely because you use them with economy. A single, well-timed compliment from a man who is otherwise sparing with his praise means more than 1,000 compliments from a man who offers them freely in a desperate bid for favor. A focused glance from a man whose attention is a valuable, guarded resource is more thrilling than the constant gaze of a needy admirer. She doesn't feel the pressure of your agenda. She feels the pull of your essence. This pull is everything. It bypasses her logical mind and speaks directly to her deepest, most feminine desires. This is the inevitable result of walking in masculine stillness. She doesn't fall for the carefully constructed persona you present. She falls for the undeniable reality of what you are. So forget the lines. Forget the scripts. Forget the games. They are the tools of the boy. Your work is far deeper. It is to start building your inner stillness, to master your breath, to watch your reactions without judgment, and to consistently choose the path of silence over the impulse of need. When you commit to this work, you will see the change in her eyes. You will witness the spark of genuine curiosity ignite, followed by a slow, willing surrender. And it will not be because you said something perfect, but because you finally became someone powerful. Masculine presence is not a theoretical concept to be debated. It is a state of being to be lived. It is not something you find in a book or a lecture. It is something you forge in the unrelenting solitude of your own self-discipline. Its foundations are laid in the gym, not in the pursuit of vanity, but in the sacred act of keeping a promise to yourself, of pushing your body through the fire of discomfort until your mind learns that pain is a signal, not a stop sign. It is built on cold mornings when you rise before the sun, with no applause to greet you, simply because you decided you would. It is solidified in the quiet aftermath of heartbreak, when every fiber of your being screams to chase, to plead, to explain, and you instead choose the profound power of dignified silence. Every single time you hold back the impulse to justify yourself, every moment you let your silence speak a louder truth than your words ever could, every instance you choose long-term discipline over short-term indulgence, you are sharpening your spiritual edge. You are, rep by rep, becoming the man who does not need to raise his voice to command a room, the man whose very stillness screams an undeniable power. To truly live this presence, you must first understand the fundamental polarity between the masculine and feminine energies. Feminine energy, in its most beautiful and potent form, is chaotic. This is not a pejorative, it is a description of its nature. Like the ocean, it is fluid, ever-changing, emotional, and powerful. It flows, it feels, it reacts, and in its natural state it craves a solid shoreline to crash against. It yearns for a container, an anchor that can give it form and direction. That is why the masculine energy she craves is not merely confident. It is, above all, stable. He is the man who does not shift his emotional state based on her unpredictable mood swings. He does not mirror her storm. He is the lighthouse that stands resolute within it, offering a steady, guiding light. She will never articulate this need. In fact, she may consciously claim to want a man who is as emotionally fluid as she is. But what her soul truly craves is a man she can lean into, a man whose presence tells her she can finally let go, that she can unravel safely because he will not unravel with her. The moment you start spiraling with her, you abdicate your masculine role and become a mere mirror to her chaos. She does not want another mirror. Her life is full of them. She wants a mountain. A woman's nature is designed to instinctively test this mountain. These tests are rarely malicious or even conscious. They are a primal, energetic vetting process. Her subconscious is relentlessly asking, is he real? Is his strength genuine? Can he handle my emotional depths without drowning? Can he lead us, both when I am lost in the fog? She needs to feel the integrity of your frame before she can fully trust it and surrender into her feminine essence. This is why she will push. She will pull. She will question. She will withdraw. Or she will stir up a small emotional storm, all to see if you remain unmoved. The untrained man fails these tests every time. He becomes defensive, proving he is easily provoked. He becomes supplicating, proving he lacks a spine. He becomes angry, proving his calm was a fragile mask. The man living his presence, however, passes these hidden tests without even recognizing them as such, because he is not acting. His response, or more accurately, his non-response, is a natural extension of who he has become. His composure is not a tactic. It is his center. When she feels this, when she pushes against a wall that does not budge, that does not even acknowledge the effort of her push, that is when she relaxes. That is when the games stop. That is when she melts. Because her deepest, most ancient self knows, this is not a boy in a man's body. This is a man I can feel safe with. The path to embodying this presence is a practical and arduous one. It is forged in the forge of solitude, a place where you are alone with your own weaknesses and have no choice but to confront them. This involves mastering 3 domains: the body, the mind, and the spirit. Mastering the body is your foundation. This means engaging in difficult physical practices that train not just your muscles, but your nervous system. Weightlifting teaches you to handle heavy resistance. Martial arts, like jiu-jitsu or boxing, teach you to remain calm and strategic under direct physical pressure. Practices like cold exposure, cold showers, ice baths, are invaluable for training your body to override its initial panic response, teaching your nervous system that you are in command, not your reactive instincts. You learn to breathe through the shock, to calm your heart rate, and to endure. This physical mastery translates directly into emotional resilience. Mastering the mind is the next pillar. This is the practice of becoming the observer of your thoughts, not their slave. Meditation is the primary tool here. The daily discipline of sitting in silence and watching the chaotic chatter of your mind without getting swept away by it. Journaling is another crucial practice. It is the act of externalizing your thoughts, which allows you to see them with clarity, identify your own patterns of weakness, and define your values with conviction. You must also curate your mental diet. This means starving your mind of the junk food of social media, mindless entertainment, and the news cycle, and instead feeding it with philosophy, literature, and knowledge that builds your inner fortress. You must reclaim your focus from a world designed to shatter it. Mastering the spirit is the final and most vital component. This is the cultivation of your mission. A man's mission is his purpose, his why, the driving force that is bigger than his own comfort, pleasure, or even his own life. It is not merely a job or a career, it is the direction of his life's energy. It could be building a business, creating a body of art, mastering a craft, or serving a cause. A man without a mission is a ship without a rudder, and he will inevitably make a woman his mission. This is a fatal mistake, as it places a burden on her that she is not meant to carry and makes his emotional state entirely dependent on her. A man who is deeply locked into his purpose has a natural gravity. His time is valuable. His focus is potent. His energy is not for sale. He doesn't have to pretend to be busy or unavailable. He is busy and unavailable to things that do not align with his path. This mission orientation is the ultimate anchor for your masculine presence. When you emerge from this forge, your interactions with the world change. You no longer see women as objectives to be won, but as people to be experienced. You understand that you do not build presence by attracting women. You build presence by detaching from the need to attract them. This detachment isn't coldness, it's freedom. Your attention, love, and energy are no longer transactional tools used to get something. They become genuine gifts offered from a place of abundance, from a man who is already whole. You can be deeply loving, passionate, and engaged, but your emotional sovereignty remains intact. You do not need her, which is precisely what allows you to choose her freely. This presence is a boundary. It is a non-verbal declaration that says, "You are welcome to enter my world, but only if you bring peace." Drama, manipulation, and disrespect find no purchase here. You do not argue with them. You simply remove your presence from them. This quiet, confident exit is more powerful than any angry outburst. It teaches people, especially women, that your peace is non-negotiable. They either rise to meet your standard, or they are filtered out of your life. In this way, your presence becomes your greatest protector. You will find that you no longer need to chase, to convince, or to prove. Your energy becomes a gravitational force. Opportunities, respect, and yes, the right kind of women will begin to orbit you, not because you sought them out, but because you finally became the man, the center, the unwavering presence they were always searching for.